Welcome back everybody, Mike here for ironinfidel.com. Today we're going to talk about 5 must-do drills when you get a new handgun, a new rifle, doesn't matter what it is. These are 5 drills that you should do to get acquainted with that new firearm and make sure that you are going to be proficient with it. We're going to go through each of these drills, but there's a couple things I want you to keep in mind. First of which is going to be, this is 1 box of ammunition or 50 rounds that we're going to spend today. So you're not going to spend a ton of money on the ammunition for this. And I don't want you to go for the win here. I don't want you to race like a horse on these drills. I want you to run them slow. I want you to run them consistent, and I want you to run them all A-zone, because this is about getting acquainted and familiar with that new firearm, whether it's the trigger, the grip angle, the texture, whatever it is, different caliber. Maybe you put a compensator on, maybe you're shooting a suppressor. It doesn't really matter, but you need to do some form of training to get up to speed with that new rig. And these are 5 things that you can do. They're going to settle you right into that new setup so you can be a performer out on the range or out there in the real world. All right, everybody, the first drill we are going to run today is one you've probably heard of out there on the internet or seen out on YouTube, and that's going to be the bill drill. It's very simple. You're going to draw or present, and you're going to fire 6 rounds at the target. Remember, we're not looking for speed. You're not in a competition right now. We just want to familiarize ourselves with that new pistol or rifle, the trigger, how it feels, ergonomics of the grip, all that good stuff. Get 6 A-zone hits here at whatever speed you can accomplish that. Now, I don't want you to shoot 1 round every 5 seconds, but keep a manageable pace out there. We're going to run this drill a couple times so you can get a really good feel for it, and then we'll go ahead and move on to the next one. So bill drill, 6 rounds. Don't use a shot timer on this. Just go at a comfortable pace, work the mechanics, and get the job done. All right, we'll go ahead and address the targets, but I can tell you from here, they're all A-zone because we're shooting from 7 yards. Again, we're not trying to shoot super long distance. We're not trying to go as fast as possible for competition, and 7 yards is the most likely defensive encounter, so that's the distance we're using today. You can go closer if you want. Say you got bad eyes or something, doesn't matter. Again, we're getting familiar with our new rig here. We'll go ahead and tape up the target. You can see here, all good hits in a nice tight, smaller than a fist size package. We'll get this fixed up. We'll run the drill 1 more time, and then we'll move on.
Now a word from our sponsors.
You've got the large one, the small one, MOLLE, cell phone pocket, key hanger, everything you need. And we also have fitness equipment. If you are into fitness bands or anything, we've got those so you can stay healthy and hydrated out there in your daily life. Another thing I want you to keep track of is keep that gun fully loaded. I don't want you working reload drills or anything yet. There's a reason we are progressing through these drills in a very specific manner and a specific order. So stick with that. 1 more for the bill drill. Okay, so from here, 7 yards, I can tell they're all A-zone hits, smaller than the first group, which is probably what's gonna happen because now I'm a little bit more settled in. But overall, this drill is gonna work a lot. So not only are you gonna work on your draw, right, or your presentation of that pistol or rifle, whichever it is, because you can do both. You're working on trigger control. You are working on a little bit of your speed, even though I don't want you to go too fast, but most of all, you're working on the trigger combined with the grip. So if one of those falls apart, you're gonna have a lot of problems. So if your shots are all over the place, you probably need to dial in a little bit, maybe breathe a little more consistently, maybe don't sympathetic reflex flinch. But this drill is going to tell you a lot about what you're doing out there. And with the mechanics involved in this, from the draw, presentation, trigger press, the follow-up shots, there's a lot of things that you can deduce from what your target or paper is telling you. So let's move on to the next drill. Again, there's a very specific reason that I changed these drills in the order that I put them in, because I want you to progress through this range day to a point where you're much more comfortable with your new setup. Okay, so the next drill we're gonna run is a simple transition. You can do this with 2 or 3 targets or however many you have out there, but if you wanna keep the round count at 50 or below, let's just use 2 targets. The goal of this is pretty much the same as the first. We're gonna draw from the holster or present or from concealment, whichever you're doing. We're gonna fire 2 rounds at 1 target, transition to the next one, and fire 2 rounds. Again, a lot of mechanics here. Draw, trigger press, follow-up shots, but now we're adding moving to another target. So this is where you're going to start, especially with a dot, you're gonna see in that A zone, as you transition to the next target, you're gonna see your dot kind of move and almost paint that A zone, kind of like this as you move. and you press a good shot when that dot settles in on that small point on the target that you want. So again, no shot timer, not going for speed. We're loaded, we're good. We're gonna go ahead and run this drill at our leisure, and I'll show you a couple of times. Okay, so targets are good. I can see from here at 7 yards that they are all A-zone. I'm not gonna go up and tape those again. If you wanna tape the A-zones, that's up to you, or if you just wanna now start keeping track of the ones that are outside of the A-zone so you can save pasties or marker or time, that's fine. So we'll go ahead and make sure we have enough rounds here, and we will run that drill one more time, but I'm gonna run it the opposite direction now, right? So that one I went from left to right. This one I'm going to run from right to left because you can run it either way. It's completely up to you. All right, again, from here, I can see my targets and they are all A zones. So we're gonna go ahead and progress on to the next drill. Remember, do them in this order because they're set up a specific reason this way, and you're gonna see why. Now, the next drill we're gonna run is where people like to usually try and go really fast because it looks cool on Instagram or out on YouTube, and that is going to be a 1R1 or a 1 round reload, another round on the target. Because it does. It looks cool when you can draw and fire around and do a fast reload and hit that target again, you know, 1 second, 1.5 seconds, some crazy speed out there. But remember, we're trying to learn the mechanics here. So what you need to do with your pistol is you need to set it up with there is a 1 singular round in the chamber, right? It's the only way it can happen because its chamber only takes 1 round at a time in a pistol, and a empty mag in the gun. So we're gonna fire 1 round, do an empty gun or emergency slide lock reload, and then address the target with another round. Again, I'll run this drill a couple times so you can see the mechanics of it. We'll make sure round in the chamber and empty mag in the gun. Remember, a lot of mechanics going on here. That's why we have stacked these drills the way they're stacked, because this is called skill stacking now, right? And I want you guys to remember that because the next one is gonna get spicy. Okay, so a little bit of a hang up on the mag there, but even though it was still a fairly quick reload drill, I can see they're all in the A zone. We'll put a little B-roll in there of the target so you can see that these are all good hits on both targets. We'll go ahead and run this one more time so you can get a really good idea of what the mechanics should look like, because there's a lot of different opinions on where you should be with your firearm or your pistol. Me, get it in somewhere where you can work with it. A lot of guys will say, get this thing up in your face, look through the trigger guard. That's not realistic to me. If you look at some of the fastest shooters in the world out there, JJ Ricazza, when he does this, he'll draw, he'll fire, and he'll bring the gun right here, reload, and he's back out on target. That's what's comfortable for me. Figure out here what is comfortable for you. So we'll set this up again and run this one more time. Okay, so there's a couple of examples of a 1R1. Just remember on this, that may have looked fast to some of you, but we're not going for speed, right? We're going for the mechanical accuracy, getting used to this pistol. Remember all those mechanics: draw or present, fire, reload, one more round. Find a comfortable space somewhere in here, which is what people refer to as your workspace, that works for you. You don't want to be way down here. You probably don't want to be way up here. You want to be somewhere in this area so you can get this gun out here quickly. And that's really going to be up to you and your biomechanics and ergonomics of your body and what feels comfortable. Somewhere right in here is what works for me. Now let's move on to the next drill, and this one is where we're gonna culminate and combine everything that we have done so far and get a little bit spicy. So this is one where you really wanna take your time on, but it's actually a lot of fun. All right, now this drill is where it gets really fun, and now it's gonna make a ton of sense on why we did all of these drills in the order we did, because this is the Baer Standards drill. This is awesome. It came from Baer Solutions, ex-Special Forces guy, does great training out there. A lot of stuff going on here. This is gonna work everything from your draw, presentation, trigger control, grip, target transitions, reload, everything all in one. So it's a lot of fun, but again, take your time on this and get perfect hits. You can work in speed later. Goal of this drill, you have a 4x6 box, a 3-inch circle, and a 4x6 box. You're gonna have a 10 round setup in your gun, 1 in the pipe, 9 in the mag. You're gonna go 5 on one box, 5 on another box, empty gun reload, 3 rounds in the 3-inch circle. Do it from 3 yards, 5 yards, 7 yards, whatever you feel comfortable with. I'm gonna run it from 7 today. We're looking for 100% accuracy. I don't want you to go so slow that it doesn't make sense. but I want you to keep a moderate to kind of slowish pace and just get those good hits, because this is about, again, learning mechanics of your new setup. All right, so running that drill, I can see one, and then you might have been able to see it on camera, where I kind of had a little trigger freeze and I felt it right away. I dipped, pulled the shot a little bit low, still in the box. And I can tell you right now, on the 3-inch circle, the first round I fired went about a 1/4 inch, not even a 1/4 inch, maybe a 1/16 of an inch over the line. We'll show that to you guys. That would be considered an out. Overall, from 7 yards, those should all be hits, but nobody's perfect, myself included. So we're gonna run this one more time after I mark my one that's out over there, so we can count for that next series of hits. That's the one I felt right there. And that's the little piggy that said no right there. That's the thing about the Baer standards drill, is you've got to stage your magazines right, because if you don't have the right amount of rounds, you're gonna be wondering why all of a sudden you shot 12 instead of 10 or 9 instead of 10 and didn't have your reload done right or something like that. So always
gas it up appropriately when you're running a Baer standards drill.
That's the one. I think we got a line breaker on that one. Again, I felt that one, a little bit of trigger freeze. We'll go ahead and check these out, then we'll talk about our last drill. Camera guy's a third party. Did it break the line? You got to come close. Did it break the line?
Yeah, it broke the line.
Okay, so in all reality, yeah, it summarily broke the line by the smallest degree, but I'm going to consider that one out. Again, I felt that one just like I felt this one.